What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we're going to do something that we haven't done in a couple of weeks now, and that is a mixed coin roll hunt. As you can see in front of us, we've got nickels, dimes, and quarters. We've actually got $250 here worth of bank change. Only 3 customer wrap rolls of dimes, so who knows what could be in there. I might have 1 or 2 rolls of dimes that are all like 2022s or 2023s, but it's what the teller could give me out of her little safe. So 50 in nickels, 100 in dimes, and 100 in quarters, and I'm looking forward to getting into these and hopefully finding a few goodies in such a small hunt. So let's jump into it. So I've decided I'm going to go ahead and do the dimes first because I'm going to open all of those rolls on camera, and just looking at the ends, we may, as I said in the intro, have a lot of 2023 rolls, so it could go pretty fast. What I'm going to do is go ahead and put this into some fast forward, and I'll slow things down if we find anything interesting. But the main thing that I'm looking for here, really the only thing I'm looking for here, is proofs and silver, and we can edge hunt for silver, and I'll hunt for proofs as we're going through them to get them re-rolled. So if you are interested in doing dime hunting for varieties or errors, I do have a document in the description down below, and in there you'll see there's not a whole lot to hunt, like 1996 W's, something that's in there. There's a couple of proof reverses that are in there. They're just not that exciting to hunt, and dimes are really, really small and hard on my eyes. So I typically just hunt dimes now for silver. And with only, I just got done saying with only 3 rolls. Now that might be a silver there. 1967. It looked really silvery. It just didn't end up being silvery. I was about to say, look at me saying I'm not going to find silver in just these couple 10 rolls or whatever. I have 20 rolls, and then thought I almost had something there. So anyway, I'll stop yammering on, and we'll go into fast forward and play a little bit of music, and I'll bring you in if we happen to find anything. And here's our last roll of dimes. I don't know if you could tell in fast forward, but we had a lot of rolls of 2023s. Probably only about half of these were circulated. And no silver to be found. Let's see here. Last roll. Did we get some last roll luck? I am not seeing it. All right, well, I'm going to clean these things up. Just so you guys, if you've never watched me hunt dimes, I typically spread them out like this as I put them into my little bin to be re-rolled. And that is how and when I look for proofs, because proofs will just jump right out at you. And silver, if I missed one, is also slightly different color, so a lot of times I will stop and give some of these dimes a second look. But let me get these cleaned up, and then we'll move on to our nickels. All right, so we are moving on to our $50 nickel hunt as part of this little mixed roll hunt here. And just to remind you guys, if you're not watching my Hunt and Fill series, these are the only nickels I have to finish out my Jefferson nickel albums from 1938 to current date, plus pretty much most of the proofs. Everything down here is like pretty super low mintage, and we do have a fair number of the war nickels that we need to fill those books up. And so that's the really important stuff that we're looking for. But of course, anything from 1938 to 1959 is considered a find when we hunt nickels. And just simply because they're old and they're tougher to find, the mintages were much lower, so we always hang on to all of those nickels. And for those of you copper hoarders, there's a ton of copper in these nickels. So if you're a copper hoarder, there's just another good reason to hang on to all of those 38s, or 38s through 40 something. So Anyway, I'm just kind of thumbing through here real quick to see if anything jumps out, like right there. we've got ourselves a 1953 Denver. Look at that in roll number 1. So this could turn out being a pretty good hunt if we're getting 50s era nickels this early out of this few number of rolls. And with that said, I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to continue to hunt for stuff, and as I find interesting coins, I will bring in, we'll talk all about them. And while I got you here, if you're not already a subscriber to the channel, man, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop down below and click on that subscribe button. Click on that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I do release a new video. That would be super. But I'm going to go back through these in a little bit more detail and see if I missed anything. And I'll bring you in next time we find something. So we just finished getting through roll number 2, and this was like the second or third coin from the end, and I think this is something called like a misaligned die. I don't think this is worth a lot of value here. You can see that the bottom of the nickel's a little bit low. We've got a little bit of a double rim up here, and you can see it creates a bit of a shelf just on the one side. On the other side, it's very thin and flat. There's kind of no little collar on it. It's tapered. It's very strange looking. I tried to find out what this is called. The best thing I could come up with is that it's a misaligned die. So if you know what this is, let me know in the comments down below. I don't think it's worth a whole lot. If it is like a, you know, again, a misaligned die or something like that, from me looking at pricing and stuff, it's not worth a whole lot, especially with some of the road rash that it's got and the fact that the reverse is pretty darn beat up. Anyway, it was a find. I'm going to hang on to it. Just wanted to show it to you guys. So it's been a good long while since I brought you guys in. We are on, if I did my math right, roll 12. And I've come across actually a really nice looking 1959. Looks like a Denver. I don't think there's any varieties on this guy. But we'll put that on the board as a find. It's just been really, really, really slow going. Lots of brand new nickels. I mean, we've had some older nickels, but older is really like 1964. I'm hoping this heats up a little bit here in these last 13 rolls. We're gonna roll number 13 again towards the very, very end. You can see here's all the coins I went through already. 2 from the end. We've got ourselves our first 40s nickel. We've got a 1941. Looks like a Philadelphia. All right, we got 10 rolls left. I'm going to go ahead and open one of these rolls live for you guys, and we'll go through the entire roll together. I'm just looking for one that has like a older looking ender, if we even have one. Those all look pretty new. There's at least an older looking one. That one's kind of older looking. Who's going to win here? Let's open this one. So, if you've never nickel hunted before, and I think I said this earlier in my video, I do have a document in the description. There are a ton of nickels in the 30s and 40s that, in early 50s, or really through, I guess, the end of 50s, that have like over mint marks. There's some triple die reverses. I think there's a handful of double die obverses that are out there. There's kind of a lot to look at, but you need to find older nickels. And of course, the big thing we're always on the look out for is our silver war nickels, which were 1942 to 1945, and they have a mint mark above the Monticello building, and they're slightly different color because they're 35% silver. Those are always big ones that we're looking for. And then of course, if we can go further back and start finding ourselves some buffalo nickels or some V nickels, that makes hunting nickels a ton of fun. But lately, my nickel boxes have been just loaded with a lot of later year nickels, like 80s and up, and 75-80% of the nickels have actually been from like 2004 and later. And they're just not as much to look at, so you're just going through them so very quickly. I think the oldest nickel we found in there was a 64. And the 64D does have, I think, a repunched mint mark on it, or an over mint mark. I always just look at the mint mark for anything that jumps out at me. Actually, that was my 41 that we put on the board earlier. But that's how a lot of these rolls have gone. There just hasn't been much to see. So if you are new to coin roll hunting, I would say nickels and pennies are typically your, in my opinion, some of your easiest entry points to coin roll hunting, because a box is cheap. A box of nickels is $100. A box of pennies is $25. And there are a lot of interesting things to look for if you can find a decent box. All right, so as I'm talking there, we did come across a 1957. Let's just lay these guys back down. Come here, making a mess. Where'd he go? There it is. So right there, we've got ourselves a 1957, and it looks like it's a Philly, maybe. Let me put that under my scope here, just to be sure. It is. It's a Philadelphia. And there would be a mint mark here right next to the Monticello building. All your more modern nickels, the mint mark is here just by the date. On all your older nickels, it'll be here next to the Monticello building, and your war nickels, as I said earlier, that mint mark will be up here above the nickel. And I always have on my computer, it's sitting over here next to me, my little cheat sheet up, which is in the description down below. And I always keep that up to look. So there's a 55D over S, there's a 58D, looks like some sort of mint mark error. There's a 56 quadruple die reverse and triple die reverse. Unfortunately, the 57 has no variety, so that's just going to go up on the board here next to our other 50s finds. And I usually keep my red book handy for mintages, and I will put that on the screen. I'll always add those to my videos so you guys can see the lower mintage marks. And that kind of also maybe will help explain why some of these nickels may be harder to find. A, they're just really old, and they didn't make nickels in the mintages that they make today. So anyway, this is kind of what it looks like to hunt a box of nickels. Now, if you're going to be somebody who's just looking for silver, I don't think that nickels are the way to go. Just sounded funny. I'm looking for a mint mark over the Monticello building. There's just not enough war nickels, and I think still out there in circulation for you to find. I find a handful a year. I do see other coin roll hunters who manage to find 2 or 3 or 4 a box, but it's rare that I hear about a coin roll hunter, getting some giant collection dump of war nickels in a bank wrap box of nickels. It's much more likely, in my opinion, to hit that while you're looking at custom rolls, which I did like 3 years ago. I have a video, it's very, very early on my channel if you want to go and look. I mean, you'd have to go back about 3 years, and I did cover it in one of my like 2022, 2023 epic silver finds, where I picked up a bunch of rolls of nickels, and it was just loaded with buffalo nickels and war nickels. But it was all customer wrapped. It wasn't bank wrapped. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. I'll keep hunting these off camera, and I'll bring you in when we find something. But I just kind of wanted to show you what it's been like to hunt these nickels. As you saw in fast forward, the dimes were not any better by any stretch. At least in the nickels, we've got a couple of finds to show for our time. All right, well, that's how many rolls we have left. I think it was actually the next roll after I put the camera away, or maybe 2 away from that. We've got our next find, and it is a 40s era nickel, a 1949 last year. And we have another Philadelphia nickel. Unfortunately, this one does not have anything on the Philadelphia. No DDO, no double die reverse or anything like that. We're on roll number 21, if I did my math right. And we've found our next coin for the board, and it is a 1959. Looks like a Denver. No varieties on this one as far as I know, so we're just going to put it on the board. Very same roll there, just 2 from the end, and we've come across another find. So we've reached the end of our nickel hunt here, and it was a little bit disappointing. We ended up with 2, 4, 6, 8 finds out of 25 rolls of nickels, and I usually find 20 to 30 and sometimes more 1938 to 1959 nickels, and occasionally we get to throw in some war nickels and buffalo nickels into those finds. So this was a little disappointing. As usual, we did not find any of those lower mintage years for my albums, so nothing to show you there. Real quick to go through these in case you're tapping through this video. We did end up with this 1941 Philly. We had ourselves a 1949. We had a couple of 1953 Denvers. An actually decent looking 1957 until you flip it over. And a couple of 1959s. The cool find of this hunt, honestly, is this kind of misaligned collar 2000D. I'm going to hang on to this actually, and we'll flip it up as an error. Earlier in the video, I did put some comps for something similar to this. Now, mine, unfortunately, has a little bit of gunk back here that might come off with soaking in some warm water or something like that. But with it looking like this, I'm not sure who would be too interested in it. But it is a pretty neat little error. So we're going to hang on to this hunt. those will go into my little coin tubes of all my 38s through 59s, and we always hang on to those for the collection. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our quarters. So before we jump into these quarters, I do want to give you guys a quick story here about them. I actually pulled them aside and was about to start hunting them, and I realized that 7 of the 8 rolls were going to be all brand new 2023 Kanaka Ole, probably Philadelphias. And I did not want to just have 3 circulated rolls for you guys, so I ran out and I kept 1 so we could hunt 1 roll to see if we could find anything interesting. But I did get 6 new rolls from Publix of all places. Their customer service was kind enough to swap them out for some Brinks rolls. And so we'll have 6 Brinks rolls with 4 Loomis rolls, 1 being all Kanaka Ole. And I also put out my albums out here. If you're new to quarter hunting, filling out these albums is a ton of fun. I have filled out 2 sets of them, and I do have a hunt and fill series that, if I remember, I'll link up here in the upper right-hand corner. And you can start from the beginning as you see me fill out 2 sets of these books. But it's a lot of fun and wanted to point that out. And I think I've got links in the description down below for many of these books if you don't have them or if you need them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into these quarters and bring you guys in when we find something interesting. So I figured we'd go ahead and open 1 roll together here on camera just in case we get lucky and find something interesting. Let's see here. Now, when I say something interesting, as I've mentioned a couple of times in the video now, in the document, in the description down below, I have an entire search list for quarters, and most of that list is going to be various die chips and die cracks and DDRs and things like that you can find while quarter hunting. But it does make the hunt a lot more fun when you have a lot of things to look for. If you're just searching for silver, I'll be the first one to tell you that quarters is not going to be your best bet because there are just so few quarters that you're going to find still in circulation. I want to say last year I might have found maybe 8 to 12 quarters out of all of the boxes that I did. I do still read about people getting extremely lucky and having really big silver quarter scores, but not nearly as often as you hear about $half scores. So just something to keep in mind if you are new to this and you're looking for something where you might get lucky and find some silver. So with that said, I'm just actually looking at these quarters for all of the various things that are in the document in the description down below. If I do find something, I will definitely stop and we'll talk all about it. I guess I will say one of the main things you want to be looking for outside of silver is our W quarters, and they run from 2019 and 2020 on all 5 designs. They are sporting a W mint mark instead of a P or a D, and they only made 2 million of each design within a given year, so they are instantly collectible because there are so few of them made. And they're worth anywhere from about $10 to maybe like $35, $45 today. So they're still something people are really on the lookout for when they coin roll hunt. So keep your eye out for those. Nothing of interest in that first roll, but I'm going to keep on hunting and I'll bring you in if we find something to talk about. So I'm in the second roll, about halfway through, and I've already put the coin I want to show you under the scope. This is the 2023 Philadelphia Kanaka Ole. I've covered this in a lot of my videos, but one of the common die chips you're going to find here is a bunch of extra metal left in the canal of the K and the A, because these are in-cues, which means they're inset into the coin. A lot of times you'll find it just in the K and a little bit in the A. Sometimes you'll find tons of metal in the K and the A. I haven't seen a lot where you find metal in other places, but this is very, very common. And they don't go for a ton of money, usually like $1 or $2 on eBay. But I like to show these off because they are pretty easy to find. And again, if you're new to coin roll hunting, you want something you can look for and feel like you had a successful hunt. So keep an eye out for this on your Kanaka Oles. So we're on roll 3, and I'm about halfway through the roll. I do want to show you real quick. I did pull a couple of coins. I've got a Philadelphia, New Mexico 2012, which I don't find many of those. I'm just going to check that against one of my 2 existing state park books to see if it's an upgrade. Same with this 2023 Kanaka Ole. It's just in really, really great shape. It almost looks proof-like, even though it's a Philadelphia. So pulled that aside just to see if we've got some upgrades. But what I really wanted to bring you in for was another Kanaka Ole, and we've got another die chip, actually two of them that I don't see very often. So if we pull you up here, we have again a variety or variant of a little bit of die chip here in the channel, which isn't that exciting. But this one actually has the larger die chip up here on top of the mountain. It actually extends all the way to the F. And typically the larger that die chip, the more you're going to probably get for it on eBay if you're into selling these things rather than hanging on to them. But we also have a little die chip here on the edge of Kanaka Ole's nose. It almost looks like a little wart. And I don't think I've ever found one like this before. So we've got die chipped on the nose, die chips in the canals, and die chip on the mountain, all in a single coin. We're on roll number 5, and just got about 6 or 7 coins left, and I've already got another one under the scope for you. It's another Kanaka Ole, and just to show you guys again, that die chip is really prevalent, this time not in the K, but very much in the A. And I know I just said a second ago I'd never found one of these, but now I found 2. We've got that die chip right there on that technically left-hand nostril for her, right-hand side for us. I didn't see any other die chips across here, none on the mountain. There is an error where I think there's finger feeders in here where you see like lines in the coin, or maybe it's down here in the river, I can't remember. I always just check both areas for something out of place, and haven't found that one yet, but a nice another little find for the hunt. And I guess I should say, I don't know if I brought you in for this, but I did find another coin with the Kanaka Ole die chip there in the NQ's spelling. So let's get back to it. So we finished up those Brinks rolls, moved on to the Loomis, and I figured I would start with that full roll of Kanaka Oles because it's going to take the longest. And I got through whatever this is, 4 or 5. I'm on the 6th coin, and we have another different variation of this die chip in the K, and we've got another little die chip here on the nose. So that's 3 in this little hunt, and I haven't found this one ever, and I've looked at a lot of these quarters, but pretty cool find. It does come from a bank-wrapped roll. It's got some bag marks and stuff on it, but it's a nice-looking quarter, and we'll throw it up with the rest of them. All right, we are down to our last 6 quarters. I know there's only 5 there because I got one under the scope. Obviously, it's another Kanaka Ole. We're going to start like we always do because this is the most common thing you're going to find. We found another nose die chip on the back, but this one also has a very minor nose die chip on the front. Now that's a little post-mint damage, probably some bag marks, another quarter hit it in the rolling machine, something like that, but this one is in fact different because we got a little bit of that extra metal here on the nose. So that is also a unique find for this hunt. So we're on roll number 8, just about towards the end. I've got another one under the scope for you. This is a 2021 filly crossing the Delaware. And this is not a great example of this coin, but I just wanted to show it to you because we found one. There's a little die chip here in the corner of the hat. Now, this die chip can appear in all kinds of places on this hat. And honestly, the ones that are worth a lot of money are the ones that have the big die chips that kind of come like this on the left side of the hat, or the big die chips that are up here on this side of the hat. The really, really valuable one is a die chip that kind of covers this whole rim, and it actually gets up here into the letters. Those are still worth, I want to say, $50, $60, $70, $80, something like that, if you can find one. I have never found one. The closest I've gotten is the half crown, where it's a big chip that kind of covers this part. But if you were able to find one of the big ones, they're worth a good bit of money. While I have you here, the other thing you should look for is that there is a die clash error, and you can actually see part of Washington's neck right here on the back of the coin. That's actually this piece right in here. I think it's right here or right here, and it ends up on the back side of the quarter. So that's a die clash you should also be looking out for. So anyway, another find for the board. Same roll, 3 from the end. We've got ourselves this time one of the 2020, I think it's a 2022. I've already forgotten. Look at that. It's actually a 2023 filly. This is the Bessie Coleman. And we have another die chip you should be keeping your eye out for. And again, there's a bunch of these to look for. This one's pretty minor. Small little die chip here on the bottom wing of the biplane. The more valuable ones are big die chips up here on this part of the wing, or even up here on this part of the wing. So this one's pretty small. Coin's not in great shape. Usually these are, again, a couple of bucks on eBay. The other thing you should look out for is a big inQs error, where you get a giant doubling of the E and the C down here. If I find one of those, I'll be sure to bring you in. I have covered that one on a previous video. Well, we've reached the end of the quarters, and we're just going to do a quick wrap-up of the entire hunt while we've got you here. Real quick, on the nickels, we had a handful, 6 or 7, 8, 1940s and 1950s, just regular nickels that we're always going to hang on to. We had that one misaligned die coin that I'm definitely going to hang on to because it's a nice little minor error. I do like it. We didn't talk about these during the hunt, but I always pull my bicentennials and kind of hang on to the really nice ones and make rolls. I don't know if any of these 4 will make the cut, but I did find 3 Phillies, 1 Denver. The Denver, you always want to check for that DDO, where you'll see some doubling in the word Liberty, and I think there's even some doubling in the In God We Trust part of the coin. It's one I've been on the lookout now for several years and never found. The rest of these we did go through in various clips, but we had the die chip in Washington's hat. We had the die chip on the biplane from the 2023 Bessie Coleman. We had 3 Kanaka Oles where we've got that die chip in the K or the A and nothing else really wrong with the coin. We did have 3. Again, we went through, I think, every one of these during the hunt where we had the KA die chip, but we also had either the mountain die chip or the nose die chip. And then, of course, I kept one separate because we had the nose die chip, we had the K and the A, and we also had a little nose die chip on the front. So if you want to see the close-up of that, just rewind through the video. I did do a close-up of that, and I went through it. I did pull 3 coins aside just to see if they would upgrade my books. None of them did, so they'll go back to the bank. But it was still nice to find a few coins that looked nice enough that they might go in my books. So with that, it was a little bit of a weird one. The 100 and dimes didn't work out for us. The nickels were a little light. The quarters, we had not a lot of cool varieties, but we did see a lot of die chips, which was always kind of fun. I wish we just had a little bit more variety, but in only 10 rolls, it's not too shabby. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know. Drop on down below, click that like button, and leave me a comment. And if you are new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts, you'll let me know that by dropping down there and clicking on that subscribe button, and then click that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. And I'd love it if you could make it back and watch more of my content. Would really appreciate it. While you're down there, leave me a comment as well. Let me know you're new to the channel. I'm finding more and more lately people that are going, hey, I've been watching some of these guys for years and I've never seen your videos, and I just don't know how I've missed them. So I'm always amazed that YouTube just doesn't serve me up to people that watch coin roll hunts, which is really weird since that's what this channel is mainly about. So with that, special thanks to my monthly channel members. Really appreciate you guys supporting the channel every month. If you're curious about those memberships, there's a join button down below this video. You can click that and learn more about the memberships. With that, I've got a $50 video coming out here in the next day or two. Hope you guys can check that out. And I hope you have a good weekend. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.